Jack of all trades. Hey, I'm your host, Lamar L.A. Smith, and welcome to another episode of the Jack of All Trades podcast. Today I'm with Kaleigh Garaffa, a senior at Marist College, double majoring in general communication and Spanish with a minor in creative writing. And writing has always been, a great passion of hers, and she didn't rediscover it and she rediscovered it and cultivated it throughout college. And she's currently writing a book, Las Locas, aka The Madwomen, which is a mystery based on the dirty war in Argentina. Say what's up to everyone, Kaleigh.
Hi, it's great to be here. Super excited. Thank you for introducing me and for having me on the podcast.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so we're gonna talk to you today about your upcoming book as well as a little bit about your college journey. So obviously you talk about writing so much, like you probably have more writing experience than me. Maybe. So I'm really interested in like how did that all start? Like how was your childhood growing up?
Yeah, I've always loved reading. I spent like all of my childhood just constantly reading books like Magic Treehouse and Goosebumps were my favorites. When I was little, like I would just sit down and constantly read. And I've always loved writing too, but I didn't really do it that much. I was more of kind of like just a reader. And yeah, then when I got to college, I was kind of like trying to find my passions and stuff because I first came in with just a Spanish major and I kind of realized that I wanted to do more than just that. So I had to like really think about what I like doing. And I was like, oh, I like writing. So I took a lot of creative writing classes and then it just felt like so right to me. And so that's how my passion like with writing got started pretty
Hmm,
much.
pretty interesting. So like when was the first time that like you like wrote your first poem or like I don't know like how what's the good terminology to put it, but
Yeah,
like when did you know like hey, I kind of like this writing thing.
I think, well, I the first creative writing class I took in college was Intro to Creative Writing, and it was a lot of fun because I got experience with so many different styles of writing, like poetry, memoirs, fiction, nonfiction. And I think our first assignment was writing a fairy tale, and I just had so much fun with it. And I was like, wow, like I haven't really had this much fun doing schoolwork in a while, and it just felt so awesome. And that's when I was kind of like, okay, like I think this is what I'm meant to be doing.
No, that makes perfect sense. So obviously like you go to Marist College now, you're almost done, Shout out to you. It's not easy,
Thank
getting
you.
towards the finish line in college. What stood out about Marist? Like what made you choose Marist to go to?
Yeah, that's a great question. My senior year, actually, I think it was my junior year, like when I was trying to look at colleges. And there were a few things that I knew I was looking for in a college. I wanted to be pretty close to home. And I wanted um, a good program for Spanish, like a foreign language department. And I wanted to really feel comfortable on campus, like not a very small school, but a good size. Because my high school was so small that I wanted to have like a pretty small college as well. And I think one day I was just driving past Marist and I was like, wow, this is a beautiful campus. And it was close to home. So I checked it out. And when I went there, I just like immediately fell in love with it on the tour. The campus is so welcoming and the students and staff are really friendly. And I just love the atmosphere. And they have so many great programs. I really love the foreign language department too. So I talked to the head of that department when I toured and everyone's just super helpful and they have just great academic programs and people to really help you along with it. And yeah, I just really fell in love with it going there.
God damn. That is amazing. That is amazing.
Thank
So how did you end up finding NDP? Because obviously that's based in DC And I don't know how Eric finds a lot of people, but it's just, very diverse cohorts every time.
Yeah, so that's a great question too. It's a funny story because I think it was like around when quarantine started, and I got sent home from school. This was the end of my junior year, I think like the second semester halfway through, and I was so upset and heartbroken. I was like, I don't want to be home for the rest of the semester. And I had so much time on my hands, and I've always wanted to write a book. Like that's always been a dream of mine. So I saw all these people doing quarantine projects and stuff, and I was like, I should write a book. Now's the perfect time to do it. Like, when else am I gonna have the chance? And I just kind of like, it was kind of like a fleeting thought because I was thinking, how am I gonna really do that? I don't know where to start with writing a book. And then I think it was a week later that I got a message on LinkedIn. I had followed a writing hashtag, and that's how I was recruited through Creator Institute. I didn't think anything of it when I followed the hashtag, but I got a message from I believe it was Eric's assistant, Lynn. She messaged me and she was like, "Hi, do you have any interest in writing a book this summer?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yes, of course." At first, I was a little confused. I was like, "Is this a scam? Because this kind of sounds too good to
Good to
be
be true.
true." But then it
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah. And it's been so much fun. Such an exciting journey for sure. So yeah, I'm super grateful for the opportunity that NDP has given me because it's been awesome.
Yeah, I think what I found that is the most amazing about the situation is that I didn't even know that there was a such thing as a hybrid publisher. Like this like gray space that I don't think a lot of people know about. Like you hear about self-publishing and you hear about traditional publishing, but like no one knows that, oh, there's an alternative route, like there's a third option. So like I thought it was pretty cool, like their whole, setup where you have, people like editors and cover designers, like all these people that are essentially, I guess you could say, outsourced to help you with every step of the product. So it's not like self-publishing where you're pretty much like all alone and have to fund all these costs yourself. Like I thought that part of it was, I guess, pretty innovative itself because I've never heard of anything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so did I. I'd never heard of that before. And I think it's awesome. Their whole kind of message is that like you don't have to have all these resources yourself. Like they really help you along the way. And it's so cool what that you're basically like own your book. So like you have all the rights to your book because of traditional publishing. I know Eric was saying that that doesn't really happen.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Like I ironically, when I got his contact info, it was through a friend of mine's, Nicole, that I went to ASU with. And before I found him, like I knew kind of that I didn't want to have a traditional publisher, but I wanted, I guess you can say, that some of the perks that would occur of having like a publisher, like the editor, like the exposure, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But self-publishing, like I wanted to own the whole project. So like owning the project and owning the rights was probably the biggest selling point of anything. Like they could have told me that, you know, I would have to, do a double cartwheel or something like that, something insane. And I would have been like, but I get to own it. All right, bet I'm gonna just
Yeah,
do it.
exactly.
So I think that is something that I don't know how well you follow music, but that's something that I noticed that people have been talking about a lot, in the music realm as well, like artists, not owning the rights or the masters to their music and stuff like that. So owning, the I guess you could say the creative property of whatever you're creating might be more valuable than like any deal that you can get if you really think about it.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. That's what drew me in for sure. When he said that we would own all the rights to our book, I was like, wow, that's kind of unheard of.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So Latino culture is a big, big, big part of your book. Like what made you want to implement that in your book? Because I don't, I can't think of any NDP books that I read or just followed that had that type of cultural background?
So I am Dominican, which has definitely inspired my love of Latin culture, but I'm also a Spanish major. So I've taken tons of classes on Latin American culture. And one of them that I took my sophomore year of college was a Latin American film class, actually focused on women in Latin American film. And that was actually how I got inspiration for my book because we watched this movie. It's called The Official Story, and it is about the dirty war in Argentina, which my book is about. And I was watching it, and it was just crazy to me that, the government was taking people and killing them, and then basically like kidnapping these babies and giving them to other families favored by the government. I was like, that's absolutely insane. That's horrible. How could that happen? And then I was realizing, as I mentioned to my friends, that I was like, have you guys heard of this? Because I had never, and they were like, no, like really not many people know about it. And I think it's really important that we do know, because there's still effects of the dirty war going on. Like families are still separated and stuff. A lot of them have been reunited, which is awesome. But yeah, as I was sitting down to think about what I wanted to write my book on, I was like, what's important to me? Latin American culture is, and I love mysteries. That's my favorite genre. I knew I wanted it to be a mystery. I didn't really want to take the historical fiction route. So I was like thinking about back on my Spanish classes, and that moment stood out to me the most. And I thought it would tie in really well with the mystery genre, since it is a very, like ominous, cryptic kind of story. So yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Because you kind of touched on it, because that was about to be my next question. Like, is it historical fiction, or is it really just, about the mystery and about the fiction or elements or whatever? And like the dirty war is, I guess you could say, kind of like the inspiration, like the setting of how everything happens.
Yeah, it's a great question, because you would assume it was historical fiction, since it is based on a historical event. But yeah, I kind of use it as the backdrop of my story, but make the plot more of a mystery.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, what do you like? What do you think that your readers will love the most about your book?
Yeah, I mean, I think that depends on um, the reader, because I think my like main audiences are Latin Americans or people who are interested in Latin American culture, like myself, mystery fans. I also have a big element in my book is tarot reading and kind of spiritual stuff. So if that's something you're into, I think that would be a big element to draw people in as well. I also represent a lot of feminist themes in my book. I have a lot of strong women characters, and I try to get women empowerment across as a theme in my book. So I think if your interests fall under any of those categories, you'll enjoy my book. I hope.
I mean, I hope so too. I mean, I already bought pre-sale copy.
Thank
You
you
know,
so
I'm
much.
I'm excited for you. I feel like it almost feels like what is it called? Feels like like you're going on like this spy mission. Like it's like do or die. Like, oh, we got to get this done. Like the most intense or the most anxious I felt through the whole process isn't actually the writing. It's just the pre-sale campaign, because it's like,
Absolutely.
if I
It's
don't
been
raise this
super
money,
stressful.
then how in the world am I going to fund this book? So I definitely understand like the angst of that. And, I know you're getting close. So you're going to hammer it home and get across the finish line for sure.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your encouragement and support. It's been super helpful.
No
I need as
problem.
much of it as I can get throughout this process.
No problem. No problem. All right. Before we go, every episode I play a game with one of the guests, right? So today we're gonna do a classic that I've been doing a lot. I don't know why I keep doing this, but people like it, and I ain't gonna lie, it's a good one. So we're gonna do welcome to the dinner table. All right. But so I'm gonna ask you a question. If you had any 5 people that are alive to have dinner with, who would it be? But the qualification for you is they have to have been in like some type of mystery or like crime show or like movie.
That is a hard question. Okay. Let me think. All
Testing
right.
your knowledge.
Definitely gonna have to go with Stephen King because I love him. I know he's not exactly mystery, but horror. Do you said on shows too?
Yeah, they could like they have to have like some type of background in that or like been in like a show or movie. Like I'm not going to say
Okay.
that you have to have them, but like let's say like Sherlock Holmes or like
Okay.
Scooby
Okay.
Doo. I don't know.
So they can be a character.
Yeah, they could be a character as well.
Okay. Um, Definitely Annalise Keating from How to Get Away with Murder. I don't know if you've seen the show, but I'm obsessed with it and I'm obsessed with her. So that would be awesome. Um, can it be an author?
Yeah, it can be
I
an
already said
author.
Stephen King, so I already broke that rule. Okay. One of my favorite mystery authors is Lisa Jewell. I read so many of her mysteries, and I've actually like looked back on them to like help me write my book, which has been really cool. So definitely um her. Let me try and think.
Yeah, you got
Okay,
two
that's
two more
3.
spots. Yeah, two
2
more.
more to go. This is a good question. Um hmm. Oh, another author that I'm a really big fan of is Paula Hawkins. She wrote The Girl on the Train, and that is one of my favorite books. Such a good mystery. Um and ooh, last one. I'm trying to think of someone really good. Um hmm. This is so hard. Uh okay, I'm just gonna have to go with another author who
Hey,
I
she
really,
love
really
reading.
like.
Hey, she
I
love reading. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with it.
I do. I think it would be really fun to just like talk with other mystery authors, have dinner with them. That sounds awesome. So Ruth Ware is another one of my favorite mystery authors. So I think that would be my lineup. Annalise Keating being the only fictional character.
Hey, it's cool. I can't judge. Like this is your world. We just living in it. If that's who you want to have dinner with, I'm not gonna say like no, they can't have dinner with you. Like you need to have Scooby
Wrong
and
answer.
Scooby and Shaggy and the whole mystery gang. Like I can't do that.
I mean, that sounds pretty fun too. Wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, now that those are some mysteries because I don't know how it take them the whole episode to figure out half these people are actually like, you know, the
I
culprits.
know, right?
That's that's animated TV shows for you, you know, predictable endings to an extent sometimes. And then sometimes, you know, I'll be like, oh wow, I really didn't know that he was the one that did it. So
Yes, gotta love it.
all right. So that is all we have on this episode of the Jack of All Trades podcast. Make sure you check out the episode on Anchor, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You know, I'm going to post the whole thing on YouTube as well. So subscribe to the Inside 380 YouTube channel. Also, hold up. I got to do this. The Plugola every time, the classic Plugola. Get the book, Jack of All Trades, Rise of a Party Promoter. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I'm working on book 2 right now. So we gonna get that out to you guys in 2021. So go get the book. And follow me on Instagram, Twitter at Jack Onovan. My Twitter kind of weak right now, the Jack Onovan account, but you know, the Jack Onovan IG account popping, so you need to follow that as well. And I'll have Kayleigh's info in the bio as well. LA out.
Thank you so much.